Today's a good day.
Today is a great day. Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert with the Ted Show. I am super excited to have on Deborah Moran and Diane Ward. We're going to talk to them, talk about gratitude, living the journey. Diane is also a cancer survivor like me, which I can guess right now. I don't know. I finished radiation. What am I? We can talk about that later, but thanks for all the love before we get to the show. Thanks for all of the love from everybody for me posting that today. So thank you. All right. So Deborah is a former guest on the show. She's been on the show before. We had a great time. And then I got to meet her mom, Diane Ward. I fell in love and thought, oh my God, at some point we have to have both of you on, and here we are. So enough of me talking. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's always so much fun seeing you. And like I said, such a big day for you. And we are just so thrilled for you. When I saw your post this morning, just tears of joy. It's just amazing. So it's time to celebrate and dance, as I like to say.
Celebrate and dance.
We celebrate everything.
All right. So for the people who don't know, just give a little bit. Deborah and I know we started, well, we have lots of connections throughout this city. But we started in our industry is sort of how we met. But tell us a little bit about you guys, and then I want to dig deep into this because you have been very out there about sharing and very authentic and vulnerable and sharing your posts about your journey. And so I want to deep dive into that. But tell them a little bit about you.
Well, my name again is Deborah Moran. I am a commercial and residential realtor here in town with Earache Reserve Real Estate. I've been in general real estate 30 years. So I've met you and lots of people. I've met some fabulous people and great connections. And my mother here, Diane, about a few years ago, started helping me out. I call her my client care specialist.
Yeah.
She loved that title and was like, well, I might deserve a pay raise with that title.
Absolutely.
So with that, we're just people. We're happy people. We're positive people. We love people. And so, like when you met her, people just gravitated to her positivity. And so I said, well, you know what? Come, help me with some of my, like I said, client appreciation things, gift baskets, cards, all those type of things. And so that's how a lot of people, including you, got to meet her.
Yep.
And then let's see, probably
started in September,
her journey,
when I went for my mammogram. And then in October, I received my news. Such a shock for my age, and no one in our family has had cancer. Yes, it was very, very devastating, but it was the hardest on Deborah, harder for Debbie than it was for me. But I have had wonderful doctors, nurses, and every one of them have had great personalities. I started off with my chemo. The first 2 weeks were very hard. That did put me in the hospital. Made it very, very hard for us, but with family and friends and support, we made it. Debbie and I have always called ourselves Thelma and Louise, so that was our name that we put on. And we just stayed very positive. You always got to keep up your smile and not be down. And Debbie would always go to all of my appointments with me and trying to keep up with her job too. My sister had come in January so that it could relieve Debbie some, stayed and helped. But I am just really been so blessed. I had the chemo, I did my surgery, I did my radiation, so I am finished.
Hallelujah. You can still hear me, right? I don't know why you can't. I don't know why you can't see me, but I am listening.
I know.
It's much better to see you two than it is me.
Oh,
so
no.
I'm happy about that, but I have no idea what's happening.
Well, it's okay.
It's okay. Everybody, we all have technical difficulties. So Mom is officially cancer-free 3 weeks ago.
Yes.
What was that like? Congratulations. I have to ask, what was that like to hear those words?
Well, it was such a relief. But I just really have to say, it was Deborah that I felt so sorry for that can bring me tears now. She took it much harder than I did. And, I just give her so much credit that she stuck by me. I give her husband credit because she stayed here at the house with me when I would tell her, you can go home, hon. She would not. She checked every morning on me. I can only say that I have been so blessed because with my chemo, it was the first 2 weeks that were hard. I was very devastated when I lost my hair in 2 weeks' time. I thought, oh my God.
Is that how quickly, that's right, chemo. So that's how quickly it was, Diane, that you could.
Yes, and my doctor did tell me, but I thought, no, you could just touch it and it would fall out. So for a woman, that's very devastating to look in the mirror and not see your hair. But how do you like the new hairstyle?
I love the new hairstyle. I loved all your, I'm a dude, so I don't know scarves that you put on your head. I love you. You're always a fashion plate.
Well, you know what? It made you get up every morning, put your makeup on, get dressed, put your jewelry on, and out the door you go. And when I went for my chemo, I look forward to seeing all the people because, I just love to talk. So I look forward to seeing all the people, and we'll stay in touch with them. But the chemo was the hardest. Gosh, you lose your taste buds and things like that. So it all went very well.
It went well, and we were so blessed, as you said. At first I wasn't going to post about our journey. And again, we had so many people helping us with so many family members, my brother, my sister-in-law, cousins, my aunts, so many people that helped. And we had so many people from friends that I knew really well to acquaintances. I mean, the love really kept us going. And I was like, I'm going to post this. And I know, Ted, I'm all about positive. If we can't say anything nice, I don't say it at all, particularly on social media or anything, anywhere. But, a lot of people really look forward to that. And they were, we did a bonfire at the end of chemo. And we posted that with sparklers. And every time we had a doctor's appointment, I walk in the doctor's offices and I literally dance. Mom knows I'm going in there saying, we're doing the dance. And literally, doing the cha-cha, and we're moving around. And it's things like that kept us going. But I'm telling you, the messages that were received, even including yours, sweet messages, people helping us, we could not have done what we did without those things. And we wanted to share with anybody that's going through this. We know how hard it is. And I know
I do.
It's difficult. But I think that being surrounded by love, hope, and joy, and we're Thelma and Louise, we do those things. And it was great. And the day she came home, I had a yard. I'm sure you saw a sign put in her yard, celebrate your victory. And as she had her last treatment, we drove up and she's like, who did this? And, it was blared, in her yard. So we just.
What would you say? Let me ask you, Deborah or Diane or both. What would you say if somebody gets diagnosed? I keep getting asked this question myself. And I'm sorry you have to see a black screen. I have no idea what's happening. What would you say to somebody who just gets diagnosed? And they have that, that sinking feeling. You said it was just such a shock. It was a shock for me too. Like it's that shock moment. But some people have the support system, some don't. So what would you say, some things you all did to stay positive, especially in the beginning when there was so much unknown, the treatment, how it was going to affect you, how you were going to feel?
I think one of the things, and I'll let Mom as the patient answer that, but I think one of the things from the beginning was everybody's journey is different. And when we first found out, I had people coming to me and telling me things, and it was, the anxiety came up, and, it was like, okay, well, what do we know? And then I said, I just want to hear from the doctors, specifically, what to expect, because everybody's different. And they did coach us right out of the gate that everybody's journey is different, and please don't listen to no discredit, but your journey might be different than mom's, and somebody else's might be different than somebody else's. And they said attitude, and even when it was rough days, and I had bad days, and some days were hard for her, obviously very difficult for her, that it was the attitude, and they kept saying a positive attitude, a positive attitude. And I would say that was it. Everybody is different.
Go ahead, Diane. I want to hear what the patient has to say.
Well, for me, I would say I've always trusted the Lord. And yes, I did. When they told me Deb cried, I felt very numb. I felt scared. I wondered what was going to happen to me. But I keep a little journal. And I wrote in it, that I would that for God just to give me strength, and I wasn't going to worry about it. And my prayers, and I don't know, I've just always been a happy-go-lucky person, and I've always smiled, and I've always said when people see me not smiling, they'll know something's wrong. And I wouldn't do any of that. I wanted to also make it easier for all the other people. I didn't want anyone feeling sorry for me and all that. I would make this. And with the Lord's help, and Debbie, her husband, and my sister and my brother, and all of family members, and just seeing the posts that I would always get on my Facebook. I never thought I'd stay on Facebook so much, but yep. And you just have to hand it over to the Lord and be very thankful for every day. And, I can just say that, I can really say, I guess that I thought 8 to 10 months, oh my gosh, that's just forever. But You know what? With all the help and all, it went by fast.
How are you? Like, I can tell Deborah she gets emotional a little bit when you're talking about it, of course, because you're still in the throes of it. There's just so much unknown. And then with chemo, the illness or the feeling, the nausea, all of the stuff that goes along with that just adds to it. So keeping your mental positivity like you guys do is one thing, but then having to do it when you don't feel good, you don't want to get out of bed, you have no energy, you don't want to face it again, or Deborah, worrying, I'm sure, about, oh my God, I pray mom she's my best friend, I want her to get in, I want her to get healed. And so I know that is traumatic. It's a lot for you guys to process. So thank you for sharing that, because I think people without a support system or a faith system of some kind, it's very hard for them.
Yeah, it is very hard. For me, I have a lot of very good friends, but for me, you were talking about when they first tell you the news. I mean, when it first happened, I just turned immediately, like my brother, would call all the time and check on my mom. And, he would help give her the cheering up when sometimes maybe I was too busy dealing with the doctors, because it is a lot to undertake. And, I turned to just my immediate family, and cousins and aunts and my brother and mom too. And we just kind of kept that part kind of within our circle, just so we could handle it emotionally and get past it. For us, it all happened during the holidays. Mom was in the hospital Thanksgiving week in very, very bad shape. And so that was very hard. And I will tell you something that I learned, and you and mom, obviously, never take anything for granted, or live every moment to the fullest, and just have love in your heart. Because the way I look at life now, and I don't even have cancer, but I feel like I've lived it, is that I will never take anything or anyone for granted. And I say, I love you every chance I get.
I love that. Well, you have to, right? I mean, I think people say it, we hear it in the movies, we read it in the books, people post it on social media, but I always question people. I'm like, when's the last time you said it? Is there somebody you haven't said it to yet? Is there somebody you haven't expressed your feelings to yet? Because you're right, we're not promised anything. I mean, at all, as far as our days on Earth. And I think it's so important for you to do that. And I love that you pulled you corralled in your circle, because sometimes one of the great things about having, it's a weird thing to say, having cancer during COVID, being diagnosed, is that I know that if it had been when we were all open and pre-COVID, I would have not known how to not hug people, or people would stop me at every event I was at, and with love, of course, but I can imagine that would tax me a little more, because I want to talk about it and think about when I want, but if I have to try to make somebody else feel better when it's just such a weird thing, right? So good for you for bringing the circle in. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
So how are you feeling now? Where do we go from here? Because I have people ask me, and I'll eventually share, but I think people are like,
You
okay,
must be talking to me.
yeah, you're all good. You're all fantastic. What's next? What's next for you?
I just really feel like I never had cancer because, yes, I heard stories like how you're going to be in the bathroom feeling sick. Did you know it's only the first 2 weeks that I felt that way through the chemo, but they lowered the dose and they gave me medicine. And, I thought, well, I can't tell if I'm going to feel that way or not. So I just go ahead and take me a pill. I never went through any of that. I loved ice cream. I couldn't taste anything, but boy, that ice cream sure did taste good. So I really lived off of ice cream, and I am still living off of it, and I do have the taste buds back.
I love it.
I just, I don't know, Ted. I'm just a dead-gum happy.
You are happy, but I think that's one of the things that I really want to, like, as we start to wind down, I really, really want to talk about, because the attitude, right? So you mentioned it a little before, the attitude, and it is so important. I'm just like you. I forgot I had cancer most of the time, except when I had to go do radiation every day for 39 days. Other than that, though, I actually forgot. And then people would, when they'd start to see me, they'd be, oh, how you doing? And then I had to click in, oh my God, they want to ask me what's going on with cancer, how I'm feeling. And you have to, but the attitude is everything. You're so happy. I can't believe you have cancer. Well, what are my choices, right? My choices are to crawl up in a fetal position in a bed somewhere and woe is me, or to keep living the amazing life that I have. And I think that's a big plus for you.
I never allowed myself to stay in bed. I kept myself up. I was slow, like when I started running the vacuum, I'd do a little bit and then I'd have to sit down. But I really tried to keep myself busy. And
but you learned Netflix and Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. You learned Netflix and Facebook.
Facebook was new during this journey.
And now my sister here, she said, Diane, I never have seen you so much on that phone. I can't help it. I'm addicted to it.
Well, you know what it is? You build this connection then, and then, there's something, why it's called a social media platform. There's a social thing that we keep forgetting, even though there's technology. It's a really cool way still to connect with people. I love that you guys were private, of course, about the private stuff, but you would share when you were having a rough day sometimes, or you would give us the positives and the celebrations. I think that's so important because there's so many people out there that don't have anyone to go through it with.
I know.
And I think they look for anyone who can speak positive that they're going to get done with it by the end of their treatment.
Well, I have always told people, I don't care if it's 2 a.m, 4 a.m. If you need to call, you call. I will be here. I will listen.
I love that.
And
how about you, Deborah? How are you feeling about things?
You asked, like today, I want you to celebrate big. And I'm going to think of you today, like when you get done with all your shows, celebrate big, because this is a huge day. when the journey ends, which was 3 weeks ago, we've still got a few more things, a couple more minor surgeries, one minor surgery, and then, medications and stuff start soon. But it's now almost kind of like, and I'm sure I've heard other cancer patients say this, it's like, okay, you're so used to everyday doctor visits. When I tell people, or radiation was 5 days a week, or for us, chemo was 4 days a week, 4 days a week, for months. And, it's kind of now all of a sudden, now what, obviously we're very busy with work or I am and various things, but it's now time to live. And we've lived through the journey. And thank you so much for sharing that you did enjoy that, because we really I was not sure to do it, but not comparing mom to I had a beautiful Cocker Spaniel 4 years ago who, she had cancer, but she was the love of my life because I couldn't have children. And so after miscarriages and failed adoptions and stuff, she was my baby. And, I lived her, we live, we enjoy things. And every time mom would do something, I'd look at the doctor. It's like, well, where we're going. We were going to celebrate. What was the last time we went and got margaritas? And we brought margaritas. It was maybe like
nice.
Tell you what, I felt wonderful after drinking that.
I bet you did.
I sure did.
That's the attitude I'm talking about. The positive. Yeah. You can still get caught up in the negative or the feelings, and that's okay. But I think that people are, if you stay positive like you all did, you come out better. You feel better. Somebody asked me today if I was they didn't say lying, but I think that was the implication. You always say you're good today. Well, today's all I have. So I'm going to say I'm good today. And usually I am. I'm not going to lie. Some days I've said I had a rough day. But the majority of the time, it's all about, all right, I got to pick myself up and keep rolling. All right. So I'd be remiss if I didn't ask, how can people reach out to you guys if they want to learn more about real estate, of course, for Deborah and for you, or if they love your story, which you have a lot of love on here, by the way. If they love your story and they want to pick your brain or maybe just ask you a few questions, what's the best way for them to reach?
It's Deborah Moran, 407-579-5368. Or you can email me at dmoran, MORAN, at ERA Grizzard, GRIZZARD.com. I'm always willing to help anybody with a real estate review or any questions they may have, or if they're going through this journey, any positive, we just surround ourselves with that as much as possible. And we're so grateful to you for being with us during our journey, and we love you and send you nothing but best wishes.
I love you both so much, and I am sorry that my picture's not there, but it's really not about me. So it is about you and you sharing your journey. And I love that you were willing to come on and do that. Thank you guys so much. Deborah Moran and Diane Ward, we did it.
Yeah, bye, hon.
We did it. I love you guys so much.
Love you too.
Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thanks for being patient. You guys, they're amazing. Reach out. Talk to you soon.
Thank you, Ted.
Bye, guys.